Hello Libra friends, I'm Annie Botticelli and welcome to my Libra June 2022 Astrology Must Knows Horoscope Forecast. Definitely go to anniehelpsyou.com. That is the interface for all the free goodies I make for you each month. If you forget that website by the time we're done here, and you may because we're going to go into a lot of information, then you can find it again by, if you're on YouTube, click on the little more button with the arrow to the bottom right of the video. Click on that, it will reveal the notes and the link will be in there. If you're a podcast listener, then you can just look in the notes underneath the podcast to find that address again, and I also will give it to you again at the end of the video. This is for you if Libra is your sun sign, your moon sign, your rising sign, or anything else you watch for, Venus, Mercury, Mars, whatever, however deep you go into your chart, this is a piece of your astrological picture. If you're a very late degree Libra, so October 15th through the rest of the sign, or 23 degrees or so through the rest of the sign, I also suggest you listen to or watch my Scorpio report, because you late degree friends, the way that I set up my readings, you will actually benefit from both the Libra and the Scorpio reports if you're in that designation. Okay, so what do we first need to know here? We first have to know, big must know, that your relationship sectors are still going super strong. Now we know that as a Libra, you're always focused on relationships and you kind of can't get out of that as a main focus in your life, right? Being the peacemaker, keeping balance, trying to find your space within your relationships, helping and showing up for others, uniting with others, working with others. That's just kind of your general thing. But at this time of year, when we've got movements through Aries and Taurus, this accentuates those fields of experience, the houses that also relate to those relationship sectors. So it's relationship time, double time at this time. All right, that's a big must know. So you will have lots of opportunities to heal, to expand your relationship space, including one of the best aspects ever for true love. Okay, or expanding your current space. Jupiter is here. I go into more details about Jupiter's transit in the May report, so if you want to know your Jupiter goodies over the next year, definitely check out that. But we're going to briefly talk about it here because it is very important and very exciting. When Jupiter moves through either the 5th or the 7th house, for you it's the 7th house, it's one of the best times to find your true love. And you've got a year of that going on. So, and for those of you in the later degree segments, it's actually going to be influencing for longer than that. So you've got great opportunities here, and Jupiter tends to be additive. Okay, so that means if you're looking for your love, you can add them in. If you know that you know your love already, you can get into a relationship with them. If you're in a relationship, you can get engaged or married or, have children. Like, your relationship will get added to. And for some people, it could mean you have a lot of options within relationships, so much so that it could be overwhelming. So if you were looking for, trying to have a lively dating scene, you definitely relationships are on your mind and options will probably abound. Now, this doesn't only just work for romantic relationships. This is also one of the best sectors for building your following or building your work contacts. It's amazing for networking. It's amazing for finding help. So you've just got so many chances to have support. A lot of times Libra people are supporting other people. Okay, it's just kind of in your nature. Now is a time where you can ask for and receive pretty much anything you need help with. The universe wants to help you with it. If you're brave enough to ask, or if you're at least open enough to take the offer, because it's very likely that someone's going to say or has been saying, hey, let me help you with that. And you're like, no, it's fine. This might be a time to say yes. Okay, now some of those ways that people might help you or want to help you might be very entangled help, which might be why you're saying no. So you definitely have to use your discernment. And if it's one of those complicated things, like a family member wants to help you, but they're going to hold it over your head, you just really have to tune in to see if you're like, no, this might be a time where you at least be open to the possibility. And if you're saying yes, you might have to start to set some boundaries or tweak the nature of the agreement or the relationship that's happening. Anything having to do with life planning, legacy planning, investments are all going to be coming up really strongly now, as are the topics of power versus powerlessness, people using their power not in the right way. The topic of the victim versus the tyrant, again, the use of power is going to be very strong. And since that's making a little bit of an awkward angle for you, there might be some lessons there. It could be that someone is not using power they have over you wisely or in a good karmic way. Or it could be that maybe you're not using your power wisely, and you might have the bravery, the audacity at this time to say, hey, you know what? I'm going to be brutally honest with myself and see where maybe you're not using your power in the best way. And this can be either maybe you're holding something over someone else's head. It's unlikely, but it could happen. Or it could just be that you are giving your power away to someone or something, and it's time to knock it off. All right, but all of those topics of relationships and intimacy and power and control are really going to be coming up strongly. And it could have to do a lot with money, okay? Now, on a lighter note, we have some amazing news as far as air aspects, okay? So the sun is moving into Gemini, making the most favorable angle in all of astrology for you. Venus is going to move through Gemini, doing the same thing. And those planets are also going to make a nice connect. And Mercury is going to, actually Venus isn't going to get there yet, but it will. Venus is going to get there, Mercury is going to get there. So basically you're going to have 3 chances from 3 planets to have goodies that come from kisses from, the vast majority of the personal planets. And we've got 2 of those planets, Venus and Mercury, making a really wonderful aspect with Jupiter, the great expander, the bringer of optimism. And that can bring amazing blessings for anybody in the Libra spectrum, because all of those planets at some point are going to touch every single degree of Gemini, which means they're going to kiss every single degree of Libra. So you've got a lot of opportunities for a spotlight being focused on a philosophy that could change your life. You could have a change in perspective that can actually be life-changing at this time. You can have something with your finances that can actually be life-changing. You can have some kind of communication or news or information come to you that can actually be life-changing. So this is really exciting, and Jupiter is bringing the boost to all of this, and then kissing your personal placement. Now, the dates where that's extra juicy, because Mercury and then Venus are connecting with Jupiter, are the 20th of June and the 28th of June, and the days before and after those dates. So pretty much the whole last, week and a half of the month, there's a chance for extra goodies from those connections. But for the whole time, and even for a little while to come, you can get any kind of goodies from the trine. So that's really good news. Okay. So the sun is now highlighting your 9th house. The sun is a giant spotlight, and wherever it goes, it brings this beautiful light. Now we know this about light. It can help you see things better. It can bring more clarity, but it can also show you things that are yucky. Try putting a light in an attic and see what you see. And that's what this is like. So it's focusing on the bright light in your relationship space, your friends, your social connections. Who among these people are really not good for you? Who among these people are really not your friends? Who among these people would really throw down for you? And are you fully supporting those people who would do that? Or are you siphoning off your energy to people who wouldn't? These are the kind of questions that will come up. But since it's a nice angle, it could probably be a gentle process, a gentle evaluation process. Now, because you have all that energy and a little bit more heaviness in some of the relationship houses, you could see a little bit of, not as bright and yay lessons, but there certainly is the chance from this sun movement perspective, and then Mercury and then Venus, that really just wants you to tune into what you're bringing into the world, what you want to bring into the world, and how the people around you are or aren't supporting that, and how they can. It's also bringing a bright spotlight into learning. So if you have been wanting to learn something, your perfect school program or education or course or, tool could come in and really brighten your world and, again, change your life for the better. This can also have to do with languages, different cultures, international business. All of those can be beautifully highlighted. If you're wanting to do a launch or do something to get into the international arena, it's burning super bright for you at this time. And this can also have to do with teaching. If you're a teacher or want to be a teacher or an educator, this is also burning very bright for you. And long distance travel and immigration and things having to do with, those connections to different countries, including going to them. So I would suggest having your passport ready, just in case, because there's a very strong chance that something's going to go down involving international connections, and it could very well be you going there, wherever it is. Okay, so now, let me see if there's anything else I want to talk about there. No, that's good. Okay, so now, actually, one more thing. Saturn is still moving through Aquarius, which is a fellow air sign. And this has been really positive for you. This has been helping you to strengthen your foundation with brick by brick. So there are areas of your life that prior to Saturn moving into Aquarius, have not been settled. And now over these years, you're getting this situated. And we still have more time with Saturn there. And Saturn in Aquarius can help all Libra placements, but it is targeting a certain area right now, and that is in the late degree sector. So if you are near 25 degrees, so that's going to be like October 15th, 16th, 17th, those days around there, you're getting a big kiss from Saturn, and Saturn brings long-term things. So I just wanted to mention that because I happen to, remember that that's happening. Okay, so now let's talk about the big four. The four big must-knows from the general transit perspective to make the most of not only June, but also July and August. Okay, so we've got four big must-knows from the general transit must-know perspective, which is true for all signs, but very critical to know to understand the energies of this month. The first big must-know is that our sweet versus salty ratio, as far as the aspects, are yay. Now, if you're not familiar with my little Annie terms here, sweet aspects are the ones where the planets are in harmony and tend to bring nice outcomes, and the salty ones are when the planets are kind of grouchy and they can bring nuisance events. So we've got almost double the sweet aspects compared to the salty ones. Again, this month, we've got a several month sequence where this has been happening, but June is the last month because July, it will start to favor the challenging aspects more over the sweet ones. So we want to soak this up while we can. Something else important about this, this ratio here is that even some of the few salty aspects or potentially salty aspects this month are ones that are conjunctions, which means they could go either way. A conjunction is a neutral aspect. It could be very positive or very challenging. And so even of some of these salty ones that are there, some of them could be super positive. And of the other ones that aren't conjunctions, they all have sweet aspects happening on the same day or very close to any of the remaining salty ones. So that's super positive for the general climate of this month. Of course, we know that general aspects, any particular ones of them, don't always drizzle down into our personal experience, but it's definitely an important piece to consider. The next big exciting must know is that eclipse heat of this season is fading. April and May were our big eclipses. Definitely look at my April and May horoscope reports, either through podcast or video on YouTube, to see where these areas, what areas of life for each of your signs might be affected, and some of the other themes that could be in the backdrop. You can check that out there. But what we're excited about here is that April and May can be super anxiety ridden in the way that change is coming, but you don't really know what it is. And you feel something's opening, but you're not really sure the details. And it's just sort of a time when the air is electric. You feel like you have your finger stuck in a socket. And that is starting to fade in June. While we could have some very important eclipse related news and events come in, the biggest heat of the season will be behind us by this time, and we are celebrating that. The next big must know is that we've got a hybrid month this month. So we've got retrograde until around June 2nd, depending on your time zone. And with every day we move towards June 19th, that post Mercury retrograde shadow period will clear. So essentially, the first half of the month is retrograde and the second half is direct. So let's just look at my handy chart to remind you of what that means. So for the first half of June, you want to deal with what comes up, not conjure things to do because you're not really sure clarity is still coming. You want to clear out clutter in your mind, in your relationships. The things that were swept under the rug, they're going to come out, so it's time to deal with them. And time to make new space for new projects and experiences. So you want to get those piles off your desk so that new projects can come in. You want to get those creative babies out, we're maybe not out yet because we're not quite in the launch zone yet. We'll talk about that in a second. But you want to get those creative babies finished up, polished up, edited, so you can send them out into the world. We've got an amazing time for last minute magic. So May and June is superb for leaving yourself unscheduled as possible, because last minute magic will come in and you're more likely to be able to say yes to an opportunity that comes if you're not super scheduled. And the things you schedule are probably going to shift or be called into question anyway, so it just makes sense. It's amazing to do research in this time. So let's say you want to do something at the end of June or July, August, when we're in our direct period. So we've got, June 19th through August 21st is our big direct period. And then the days leading up to June 19th, we're still in the retrograde. So you might want to wrap up these loose ends, do your research about the things you're going to do in this time, make your bookings, do your stuff then. A lot of times confusion, not being able to see very far ahead is a hallmark of the retrograde. And this is because you're not supposed to be making plans. You're supposed to be dealing with the things that come up. Being in the moment and not, having to worry about too much strategizing or planning, and just being in the now is always a good idea. But it's especially well indicated in the retrograde because it helps to prevent you from doing things that are better for the direct. If you're focused on this very moment, you're less likely to be doing the things that are better off in the direct flow. And it's a good time to honor the flow and not force things, okay? Now, sometimes we have to take the bull by the horns and get them out of the china shop, right? And for this activity, I suggest June 19th through August 21st. And as you get closer to June 19th, you'll feel these days will start to get, more open. It will be a gradual process through the month of changing. And so launches, your big creative baby that you polished up over here, bringing it out here. The things that you researched here, making the decisions about here, in the direct time. So basically, for those of you listening and not watching, I've got a visual here, and you can always see the visual component on YouTube if you're watching or listening through podcast. But, basically the things that you research in the retrograde, you can make your decisions about them in the direct. The things that you're talking about, just kind of experimenting with. This is another thing that's nice here in the retrograde, is experimenting. Things you're experimenting with can turn into agreements in the direct time. So the second half of June, all of July, and most of August is this time for the direct energy, launches, big decisions, agreements, investments, moves, brand new projects, clarity, future planning, pushing and initiating, and being a little bit more proactive in this time of direct. So June is a special month in the way that it will reflect all of these facets, and you'll see that switching over as the month goes on. Then we've got a red alert. Okay, so I'm an optimist. I'm a Sagittarius. I have a lot of Sagittarius in my chart. I see everything through the lens of how this can be good, even if it's challenging, how we can reframe something to improve our experience. And my work is very much focused that way. But if there's something you just really have to watch out for that's kind of nasty, I am going to also tell you that. And we do have one of those red alert aspects here. The aspect isn't actually until July 1st. But because it's Mars and Pluto, I see that influence be super strong 5 days before, 5 days after. It could be a little more than that, even a week. But so the whole end of June, when we've got some other really nice aspects going on, we still have this this challenging aspect to look out for. You don't want to antagonize a crazy person. You don't want to antagonize someone that's clearly out of control or having a hard time. You don't want to not be paying attention. You don't want to force things from the perspective of like an ego push. Like if you have a righteous indignation about something and you're going to go battle with somebody who could be a formidable competitor, you don't really want to bring that at this time. And some people who you think are not formidable, competitors here, they might bring some fire that you're not expecting. So just be really careful in those days around the end of June and the beginning of July, because this is going to be a very strong influence. Don't let this make you concerned, too concerned. You just have to be more aware. And it definitely can cast a little shadow on some of the sweet aspects of the month, but it's only influencing there at the end. And we do have a lot of sweetness to help balance this out. Okay, so I've given you lots to work with to help you make the most of the energies this month and to help you understand the energetic patterns at work and play. And if you'd like more resources, I've got all of these here. You can additionally go to the little more button, the little arrow underneath the bottom right of the video. Click on that, and all of the links that I'm giving you here will be clickable, right? So if you're looking for reading options, including a beautiful, very detailed 45-minute audio of your birth chart for $33 from my brilliant husband, you can find that at anniebclarity.com. You can go to anniehelpsyou.com, sign up for my free email newsletter. This is where you can access running a free birth chart. This is where you access my 28-day in-depth virtual coaching program called Shine for free. This is also where you'll find tons of blogs, and you get lots of other perks for being on my newsletter list. If you're looking for written horoscopes by me, always up a month early, you can go to cozybysweetstarlight.com. If you haven't seen this site, go to it. It is so beautiful. We've got, me and my team have lots of amazing astrology-inspired blogs and healthy living blogs. We've got hypnosis for all the signs. We've got healing frequencies for all the signs. I've got the written horoscopes that I write. We have yoga for all the signs. So it's just a very beautiful, comprehensive site. If you're looking for free courses on how to manifest money and wellness, you can go to lumlife.com, my school, Luminous Life Multiversity, LUMLIFE. You can also find my astrology education courses here, including my behemoth of a master course called Becoming a Professional Astrologer Mastery Course, which you can fully utilize even if you don't want to be a professional astrologer, but it certainly will get you up to the level where you could be and show you how to make your business a success. And payment plans are available there too. Now, I've also got 2 books out and more on the way. Planetology, How to Align with the Natural Rhythms of the Universe. You will find this on the bookshelves in all major booksellers, including all the Books A Million, all the Barnes & Nobles. It's right there on the shelf. Plus, you can get it on Amazon and through any independent bookseller. And you can find Radical Prayer on Amazon, and you can order it anywhere as well. So I hope you have a wonderful month, and I'll see you next month. Bye!